Good afternoon. We are excited to review these topics with you. As I promise, they are always relevant and panic-inducing, and that is the point. And they definitely keep me up at night, so I figured if I can share any panic-relieving things, then that's what I like to share. So this is Easy Win, securing your environment with the tools that you already have. And I am Jaclyn Sanchez. I am my CISSP. I bring over 20 years of experience in regulated sectors like in nonprofit, specifically health and human services and finance, along with more than 15 years in leadership and technology.
I'm Jonathan VanSchaack. I have 20 years IS experience. Specifically 12 long years at an MSP. I've worked in healthcare. I've worked for a lot of different industries. And I'm also with RedSeer Secure. So, anyone, I always say, if you can survive MSP, try it, because you'll get a lot of experience. Not for everyone, though.
Yes. Same with nonprofit, because you have no resources, so you have to wear many hats. So it gives you an opportunity to do many things and learn lots of things. So yes, agreed. Same thing. What we're going to go over today is the current setting and the challenges that you face, right, in healthcare and nonprofit and highly regulated fields. The benefit of utilizing tools that you already possess and strategy to do so, and then the journey that many of us have already taken and that we've already taken that maybe you can learn from and help in any role you have. You're going to come over here. Yeah, I told you.
The slides.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, you.
Okay. All right, you can hit the next button.
Can you go read your notes?
Some of them I remember.
Okay.
Just like this one is. Let's go over the current setting and challenges. You could have done that slide. The overview of challenges that we face, right, in any field, not just healthcare, all of them, right? So the increasing cyber threats, they're not going away. It continues to be more and more relevant, no matter what, right? Technology is always evolving, and we have to keep up with that. Financial resources. There's always a problem. How are we going to pay for it? How are we going to afford it? And operational demands. On top of securing ourselves, you still have to operationalize. You still have to build your business and do all the things you have to do. Make money, innovate, and secure. So,
in the case of nonprofits, you're being constrained even more. Sometimes, whether it's government funding being, limited, or just grant funding when the economy, nonprofits are always getting, they're on the same wavelength as the economy a lot of times, because if there's not extra money, there's no donations, and that's a lot of times how nonprofits. So, that's definitely key. So, I've never done this in this slide here where it actually shows you.
I really like it, yes, as long as I can figure it out. Verizon's big DBIR came out in April. Always give some good stats. So as always, your weakest link, no matter what, is your human factor, right? So social engineering and phishing continues to contribute to over 60% of most issues. There's more notes that give you the details. But emerging threats from generative AI usage, this is obviously a new one, because this is your shadow IT that's happening when all your users are using those chatbots, Grammarly, all the things that are hanging out in your environments. So those emerging threats are coming. Increased, I have the exact stat over there. Third-party breaches have doubled, thank you. And credential abuse remains the most. So the big one I did want to touch on is the AI one, because that is important. And 14% of employees have been found to be using generative AI tools on corporate devices, which is concerning because 72% of those users access such tools with personal emails. So that is why that stat is important, because they're using, right, their personal ChatGPT accounts on their work computers, or, that's the big one. So So,
I mean, and there's been other talks, but that's the prime example to make sure that third-party assessments are done. You have AI policies in place, and you check it. You do surveys. You try to do it. My suggestion isn't to be, and not all executive leadership will respect this, but I'm not heavy-handed right away. I always relate it to when I had a sales tax audit at the MSP from New York State. They surprisingly they weren't like, oh, you owe us all this money. They went through as a soft audit and said these are the places where you needed to pay us. We're forgiving that right now, but you were supposed to charge sales tax to us. So when you go through and you do surveys and audits, you do kind of a nice way first.
Jonathan's much nicer than I am, actually. I just turn it off and then wait for people like, hey.
Well, use the tools that you have. Like if you're, I mean, obviously this is an office, but if I can turn it off, you don't want it, that's great. But you don't want to limit. The problem is if you start limiting generative AI use inside your organization, they're just going to pull their cell phone out and do it on there, and then email and content inside. You're still not restricting, and I mean, unless you're in a high secure, no cell phone location, which that rarely exists. Even the DoD still now allows cell phones a lot of times in their day to day. You're not going to prevent that.
Right, but it's a lot harder for you to cut, copy, and paste when you're typing on your cell phone than copying and pasting into chat. I'm just saying there's I know. Yes, I am. I'm just kidding because users can now just take a picture and it will copy and paste it. So yeah, so there's a lot of things, and absolutely to Jonathan's point, and we will get to that about user and why, and it's important, and why the big picture as to why your users are using generative AI and finding out the why, because that completely cutting it off is not always the idea. But these are just some of the emerging threats that are important that you have to keep up with, right? On top of the increasing complexity of securing your environment, right? So all of those things, you also have remote work models, right? The rising, it's not going away, which it shouldn't, right? It's just easier. Device diversity, right? Network security, very complex, and data protection. So we're continuing, which is I'm very passionate about, data privacy, DLP. We're adding a new, compliance piece to it, which has always been there, but there's more emphasis on it now. So more complexity to securing your environment.
And to add to the data protection, I mean, if you're not already aware of, make sure you look up the Minnesota Data Privacy Act. It goes into effect, I believe, July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot. It's piggybacking off of some other stuff, but they're one of the first ones that they're requiring that you document your data flows of your privacy. So I know this isn't technically relevant to where we get to, but I always like giving other information because if you're going down the data protection path,
it is, but no, it is relevant, and thank you for that tidbit, because some people are like, well, why is that? It is. We are becoming more and more aware and adopting more federal level and state level data privacy laws, right? You saw California Protection Act, Colorado, not able to collect geographic cookies, the data privacy on website tracking, all of that is becoming more and more. State laws now have become more restrictive than even some PHL law. Like Florida has stricter laws than HIPAA. It is very important for you to know that PII is different in each state. So yes, data protection is very, very important and is becoming more and more important as we are adopting that. Yes, it is becoming, so that is just something that you have to, that is more complex as you are securing your environments. I don't know. That was what the template was that they sent. So yes, it's a planet.
Space related.
Thank you. Space. Could have been, yes. We are aware of that. So what are the benefits of embracing tools you already have as a strategy? So why leaning into the tools you already have can be a viable strategy? So, one, money, right? How many of you have unlimited funds? Yeah. How many of you work for an organization where you're responsible for securing your environment? Yes. How many of you are responsible for your budget or saving money? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yes, organizations can save money by focusing on current tools rather than investing in new technology. You can actually strengthen and optimize existing solutions. You can maximize your current investments effectively and minimize, you can actually maintain higher security levels without the need for constantly looking for that new tool, looking for that new investment. But how are you going to do that? So, you can utilize your existing tools. You can support operational efficiency and reinforce existing solutions. You can avoid unnecessary expenses, and of course, increasing and maintaining security that way. So, how many of you are a Google shop? Nobody, right? How many of you are an Office 365 shop? Thank you. It's just easier. Anybody else? Anybody else? Is there any other shops?
I've worked at some Google shops before, but
it's okay. We're all Office 365. That's fine. Well, let's just, for the sake of this conversation, just makes it easier, right? So, how many people have gotten requests for software or like, hey, I want to try out this new app, you knowing that the Office 365 has an app that is all the time, right? But how much was that new app, right? Oh, but I have to have it. But it comes free with your Office 365. Like so, and nonprofits get E3 for a very discounted price, and it's also it's a very pretty good price for even business. So, and it comes with a whole suite, and that is what we are going to go down this rabbit hole. Leveraging the technology you already have and understanding the suite of the tools that are in, whether it is Google or Office 365, is extremely important, and knowing your business and the different departments' needs in that business, because you can truly look around and reduce technological waste on so many levels, because you can go to development, you can go to marketing, you can go to so many of those places and see what tools they're using, and guarantee that you can reduce at least one application by each department with an Office 365 tool. And you can save that department some sort of money and secure your environment by taking that application out of your environment.
The reduction of applications is also it's a win when you're dealing with like your legal department or generally connecting with your cyber insurance policies, because you're limiting your scope. And I don't know if any of you've gone through the underwriting process. You know, when you start getting high up there on those numbers, the underwriters start getting very deep. And they want to know like all these applications you're having in your so if you can limit your surface, attack surface, they love that. You know, as long as you're securing it, because well, I mean, obviously there's people that work on the other side. So
yeah, absolutely, that is the point.
Like I said, this is the first time I've seen these slides. So.
This is a good cybersecurity. Anybody had to deal with a cybersecurity insurance before, or an audit? Who has had to do a risk assessment and ask about an application? Yeah, and then when you do ask different departments, can you tell me what applications you use? And I know. What do you mean? Yeah, and then you give them a list. Oh, I don't use that anymore. Okay, great, thanks. Yes, we've all been there. It's wonderful. So, speaking of which, our path forward, right? So, I'm sure some of these scenarios that I go over, again, I will like to say that, this is a high-level overview of what we experienced and what we've done. And again, this is for educational purposes, because I think that everybody could benefit. Knowledge is power, sharing is caring. I think we could all learn from each other. Please, use this information for good.
Like a Care Bear with you.
Yes. Okay, so it's my favorite. I love Pinky and the Brain. So what is the goal? What is the goal when it comes to securing your environment? What are we going to do tonight? Well, it feels like you have to take over the world, because there is so many things after a pen test, a vulnerability scan. Where should you start? How many of you have adopted a very mature environment? Yeah, and there's always one, right? Or who's a brand new environment that started as a startup and never was built correctly. Or not built correctly. Let's just use it all. Open the floodgates. Everything by design. Everything default, right? All the things. So, it just wasn't built right. So when you get your first assessment and you finally look under the hood and you're like, what is happening here? There's a lot going on. Access control, reduce your threat landscape, right? You get a cybersecurity like, okay, we got to get insurance. What do we need to do? Well, here are all the things if you want a pretty good rate, right? Mobile device management, modernize and update or shrink, contain, all the things, so many things, very overwhelming. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I actually had a pretty senior leader once we went through some of the stuff that we needed to go through. And they're like, do we really need cyber insurance? I was like, well, that's up to you, but yes. Especially after I just told you all this stuff, you know.
Is that really necessary? Dude, isn't that what we have you for? Yeah. It's pretty expensive.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Under the table.
So it feels like you have to take over the world, right? So we're going to prioritize, and most of it is what is going to be the easiest win. In my experience, or it really wasn't, by the way, and I'll get to that. In my part, the easiest thing to do because of end of life software, just old. And it was an opportunity to feed a lot of birds with one seed, was the migration. So to replace file server, to replace physical servers, to replace SANs and all of those things, because a lot of older environments has a lot of very old data that's been living there. So if you start to work in an organization that has been around for a while, people like to keep everything. It's just like your grandparents or your parents, or there's so much stuff under the bed or in storage bins that is not necessary, but please consult your retention policy and storage. But either way, so with your license, and this is true of Google, you get so much space with your E3. You get your own file server in the cloud for free, right? Well, not for free. You do pay for it, but it comes with your license. So it was silly not to do the Great Migration. So that's what this is, the funny meme of the Great Migration of, what's his name again? John Swan. The guy with the blonde hair. It was funny. I forgot his name.
It's right there.
Yes, that's right. Sorry.
Windows.
That I couldn't pronounce it, so I wasn't going to say anything.
There you go.
So anyway, so the Great Migration, right? So the cost of migrating to the cloud without the cost of migrating to the cloud. And you get to cut down your entire on-prem file server, depending on what your data center looks like. And it was great. But it's never that easy. So I'm going to let Jonathan talk about. So this is where the hack, like to put it into your all.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you've ever seen a fantastic done one, I don't know if any of you are in just defensive, offensive, whatever. But when you're going through and you breach, you're looking, the first things you do look for is those open shares or those local repositories, things like that. You also see, can I run this? Can I run that? Is there something I can install on? Is there any protections like that? Can I, I got on this Office 365 account. Hey, look, it lets me just add in any plugin I want and try to, figure out stuff. Are you controlling what gets tied into your Outlook or your other apps? And when you move over, a lot of times you are migrating some permissions, but it's migrating from what you already had. So whether that be, your data lakes, domain controller, or some other piece that you didn't need, or just maybe you moved from, since this is Office 365, let's say maybe you moved from, Google, now you want to Office. That migration isn't the most fun, actually.
It's not horrible.
I mean, there's just a lot. Well, and it's the same the other way too. I mean, they well, they don't like to play with each other, but you know, on the side, and the next thing, you know, the side thing is we want to set up, you know, we want to set up those ad blockings. You know, we want to use MAM for that. You know, we want to make sure we go through and secure the documents. You know, make sure we have release. You know, SharePoint will allow us to classify data, make sure you're putting those rule sets in, and so
Yeah. I forgot a big part before this that I didn't mention. Does anybody want to know how easy it was to migrate from a file server to this? Yeah, because it's not easy. I mean, the actual technical piece is very easy. I will say that's very quick. But when you have all that old data and all of that, it's not no matter how much AI and all that. That's not the. There's no matter what coding or whatever you can do. That's not the hard part. And what does that entail?
A lot of digging around for documents.
And who do you have to talk to?
people who own stuff.
People. So yes, and I forgot that. I have to go back. I know, and I'm sorry. I forgot there's one of those people in this room. So yes, and I don't want to pick on her. So I do have someone in this room. So the biggest challenge wasn't the technology; it was the cleanup, right? So managing privilege creep, access control, and versioning retention. We spent about 6 to 12 weeks partnering with the data privacy team and the compliance team, meeting with each department. And the way we did it to make it clean and move over, because you don't want to put garbage in, right? Garbage in is not, because then all that stuff that you can do, right? You want to build it secure moving forward. So the way we did it, and I would recommend for anybody to do it this way, because do it once and do it clean. Don't bring in garbage. Unless, there is times where you have to hurry up and do things, but I get it. You'll never go back to it. You'll never go back. So we took that file server and we made an access control matrix. We gave each department, it's time for you to really build, and you get a viewer, and actually taught them and reminded them about what this is. You can review, view, read, and reminded everybody about not everybody needs access to everything. And we went in with each department, and then we said, we're going to go back 2 years. You get 2 years worth of data. The rest we'll archive and we'll cold storage and do all that. So we'll do 2 years, and then we will replicate exactly what we're going to build in SharePoint on another file server and build it all out and make it nice and clean. And then that way, when we migrated it, it went over so beautifully. And it was perfect. And it looked exactly like it did in their file explorer, up in SharePoint, the way that they wanted it. And you can look at her face. She's like, yeah, I still hate it, but I'll take it. But it's nice. It's nice to have access and not get that read-only, error anymore. But yes, but the versioning and everything's there. But that is the work, right? You can't just do it. No amount of AI, no amount of data classification tools is going to do that part for you. The department owner needs to take data ownership. You need to explain it to them. They have to understand. They have to spend the time and do the work. So there was a 6 to 12 week cleanup process, and we staged it. And then once you staged it, there was the technology. It did very nice, clean, migrated in about 6 hours.
So I'm actually gonna do something that maybe dual speakers don't do. I'm going to actually ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
And sorry I'm sitting. It's been a long time.
That's okay. Do you want me to sit too?
No.
Okay.
No, my feet weren't ready for like multiple 20,000+ step days. I hope everyone.
You're doing good.
Yeah, no. But no, you were mentioning about the retention. You pull it out. Did you have any for compliance reasons, you have to keep certain things accessible?
Yes.
Was those baked in when you were doing that, into how long you had to keep certain things like financial data or,
Yes.
different regulations? So.
Well, yeah. So, thankfully, the departments that do have really good retention always kept clean data. Like finance has good clean data. The departments that don't are the ones that don't have good retention. So that's good. Like our legal and compliance have good. And those things, like, even though it was 2 years back, they have tax records and things like that, not 2 years back, but we did not get rid of it. It is in cold storage, and it is still being worked to make sure, because we are a nonprofit and we have to make sure that we do not get rid of anything per our retention. So there is still work being done because we do not want to miss anything. But hopefully soon, that's going on right now. That work is almost done. And yeah, I will be able to dump all that cold storage soon.
And I already kind of do that.
Yeah, I know. Oh, thank you.
I more wanted to just, there's when you're going through this part, there's just so much to think over and make sure you plan.
A good project.
Having a partner to help is key, unless you have the expertise in house or the bandwidth, let's say, to do it, because it's a lot of, especially large organizations, it's a lot of meetings and a lot of follow-ups. So, good luck.
Yeah. Yes, partnering with your data privacy team and your definitely your department owners. So we talked about this slide, so we went back there. Okay, so here was the quick poll. So when you were out doing your threat hunting, has anybody found any plain text passwords not saved on desktops? By show of hands?
You don't raise your hand, you want.
I know.
That is really bad.
Yeah, but are they your passwords? I'm just kidding.
Yes.
I know. We've all done it.
Actually, I used to take stickies and randomly put fake passwords.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being serious. Okay.
Counter for an actor.
Security through obscurity, because they would never think that you would do that.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how I guess.
Because they
Yeah.
sticking out there, it's safe.
Well, it's under the keyboard.
No, everyone's done that, and I spent a lot of time on the front lines going through like system admin, going to computers, help desk. You walk around, find them. I don't care how often they're put, I rip them right off. If I'm helping someone, I see a password on there, I just rip it right off.
I think.
They complain, but what are they gonna? You're not gonna get in trouble. Like, they had their password written on a piece of paper. The executive leadership's normally not going. I mean, they may say do it a better way. I may be nice, but when I see stuff like that,
Well-
Sticky notes, but I do see notepads on meetings come up with passwords all over the place on like the screen share.
That's what manager, why don't you just?
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Screen sharing, always.
Or when you're on a Teams meeting and they accidentally type the password in the Teams chat instead of the password. Yeah. Or true story, instead of typing their name in on the Zoom call, they typed their password. So all call, their password was up there. Good. Yeah. Okay. Well, you didn't hear it from me. It never happened. That was a good time. We all have good stories, right? Okay. Sorry. We'll move along. So what was the goal of that? So obviously the goal there was to streamline workflows, reduce shadow IT, and it did. It fed multiple birds with one seed, right? So a big one was they did not have to. We were able to secure the system. No more having to. I have a hard time saying this out loud because I know there's mixed feelings about this. Instead of VPNing to get to the file server, now it was secured in the cloud behind MFA. So we'll talk about that. But at least it was secured. No more read-only, right? They could do that. Also, they did not have to go outside and use Google Sheets. With their personal accounts. They could collaborate because that would happen all the time there. And then we also, in that exercise, people understood what data ownership was. We also got an access control matrix, right? So it was a pretty big deal. And then we also shrunk our data set. We shrunk a pretty big footprint, and also saved a lot of. The computing power and the air conditioning bill went down. That's a cost. You have to think about that. So, and storage efficiency. So no more SAN, and we cut it all down. So that was good. Lessons learned. User adoption. They're still users. So What I would say is definitely enhance engagement at the beginning as much as possible. Better collaboration, important, tailored solution, really hit home about how it maintains security. Don't get me wrong, there were so many wins, right? And there was definitely bumps in the road. The juice was worth the squeeze, I am not gonna lie, but it was painful. There was a lot, like, where's this document? I can't find this. Getting people comfortable with the web version was really hard. And I know that seems difficult, but for those of you who work with a different, like, depending on what your teams that you work with, that's very difficult for a bunch of people. Like, knowing your audience is key. But effective training ensures users adoption. I will say the best thing that you can do is open office hours, really, really talk to them about how it can really help. And they like tips and tricks. Show them how cool things can be. Like, ooh, look at what you can do. Like they're getting one over on people. Like, oh, look at this, really, like that really, like, look at this, look what you can do now. So, the next up was a really easy win. This was like a 2-minute no-brainer, very quick. Everybody wants to bring their own devices. You can't stop it. You cannot stop somebody from logging in on their email. It was too hard. It was way too hard to control. I'm sure there's ways to control it, but it was too hard to control in this environment. So luckily, again, this comes with your Intune 365. Ma'am, turning on bring your own device. Very easy. Protects those Office 365 apps from DLP. Very easy, prevents data leaks, containerizes it. It keeps you from having to wipe their phone. You only wipe your organization data because it's only protecting your apps, your organization data. It's not touching their phone. Protects unauthorized access and prevention. I love it. We're going to need a better BYOD policy. That's my favorite meme. I love Jaws. It's a good one.
And if anyone's familiar with Google has similar, specifically on this, and also specifically on Android, they do the work profile, which everything gets isolated on there. So it's key, because if you push out users hate if you have access to it, but executive leadership is saying, no, they need to have access so they can do work. And if you're trying to retain this, so telling them you can have it both ways is a good way. Luckily, technology is starting to really catch up to how we work instead of the other way where we had to wait for it. So
yes. And it's very expensive to buy devices and then pull them back. So this is a great way to save money and convenience, right? So convenience and compliance where they work. Also, again, it works on iOS and Android. It's easy to implement. It secures data. It improves accessibility. It's also fun to contribute to the IT team's Android and iOS debate. This was also fun because we all have those. And on our team, I am team iPhone. And when it came to testing the Android, I wanted nothing to do with it.
That just made me laugh, because not too long ago, I actually had someone ask, can that work on my BlackBerry? And I was like, they're still in operation.
No.
Like, I didn't
even, that's not.
2021, you ran Android, so.
Yeah, no. They were running. I was like, how are you even using this?
It was a paperweight.
Yeah.
So,
Doing email and stuff.
No, we're not doing it for a phone, but I wouldn't do it as use it as a phone. Yeah.
But so no brainer, total easy wins, right? We couldn't not do it. It was easy wins, enhanced security for mobile devices, BYOD without needing the MDM. It ensured data protection from unauthorized access. Efficient app onboarding allows quick access to tools while upholding security standards. MAN policies improve both the security for user and by simply just adding security. The lessons learned was there was some mixed user feedback on some of the features, like copy-paste restrictions, which I think they're really, that's a big one. You can't copy from, it gets me every time because I'm a big user of it. It drives me crazy when I can't do it. But it makes sense. It's a way to data loss prevention.
Forces them to use the team features that are built in.
Yes, I cannot copy from Teams. So when I'm, Yeah. So I can't violate my own policies.
And the thing about this is it's actually necessary in a lot of compliance anyway to enable this. It's not even I mean, it's obviously a protection, but now specifically like PCI for that, the new one is being very, all their FAQs really can never copy paste. If you're doing that and you're running credit cards on anything, you will fail. If you have to get a QSA, you'll fail immediately.
You also can't screenshot in Teams anymore on your phone. That one, because Microsoft also likes to do updates.
It's like I can just take my phone and screenshot. It's a photo.
No, but like when you're on Teams and you want to screenshot and then send it, it's that one's been driving me crazy, but it's important. So whatever.
Talking about that, you're trying to spread the rumors to someone else.
Me. Yeah, see, it's my own. I'm usually the one that is the most impacted. The printing was driving me crazy because that was the way around printing, but nobody should be printing anyway. It's 2025, but whatever, it happens. I needed to print stuff for this conference. Big one is just refining the onboarding experience. That was make sure you have one for iOS and Android. I learned that. You can't just make one for iOS, even though that's what you wanted to do. For those 5 Android users, you should probably have one. So make sure you...
That's actually why we're across the screen. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So for the 5 people who have Androids, make sure you have a user guide for them. But it really is a no-brainer to have. Like it makes it easier them having either one. I don't know how many people like to carry 2 cell phones. I do not. It also signing that you can wipe my phone at any minute. I never liked that. This was also it's a pretty good compromise where you don't have to do that. So
it never worked anyway. Any of us have tried to wipe.
Really? Yeah. I thought we did try it once.
I mean, it would send a wipe, but if you the problem is if like you would want to wipe in our situation, we have highly technical users. If one of them gets let go, they're highly technical users. They know how to keep it from being wiped. So you want to make sure you protect the environment from insider threats. So sometimes
with MAM, you can't get around. I've tried. Once you're out, you can't log in. You can't go back or anything. It just because there's
backspace you should kind of get around it.
Don't do it on mine. Remember, don't. So anyway, so at the end of the day, leveraging the existing tools enables access, assurance of compliance, enhancement of security, and improvement of return on investment, so ROI. So what's important is that when you're out there, either growing in your career, growing in your path, looking for a new vendor, getting a pen test result, remediations, remember that you probably have something in your tool set that you can use and optimize. It's also, if you're a leader or if you're someone who is looking to grow your skills, it's a way for you to grow in that space and become a subject matter expert and also show value, right? So there's many ways that, using the tools you already have can work for you. And then I wanted to show this really large thing. This is, I do like Google. Google does have a lot of really great opportunities. So you can do all the things that we talked about. You can also do it in Amazon Workspace. I've never researched it. I don't know who uses that one, but I'm just kidding. Somebody does out there. Microsoft, Google, the Android users do. I'm kidding. I'm joking. Somebody does.
I actually gave some of them apples to throw at you. So
like apples or iOS devices?
Maybe. Which one would hurt more, actually?
I do need a new iWatch.
You should get an Android-based one.
No. Then you can't read. They can't do any of my things on there. Because to do this.
Do what?
It's my favorite feature. See? Yeah, that's the only thing that's the best feature.
But I never lose my phone. So that's good.
Yeah, right. If you lose your phone too.
I've literally have never lost.
So if Jillian calls and says I lost my phone, you can supposedly wipe the device but I've never tried it. But I don't want to.
That's a different
I know. Okay, so that's it. Any questions?